All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages. When your wife doesn't prioritize you. So, man, I've heard this so many times on calls. I've felt this myself. My wife, she puts me last on her priority list. She doesn't really care. She doesn't really pay attention. She takes care of everybody else, but not me. So, if you're feeling that way right now, I get it. I understand it. And there are things that you can do about it. There are also things that you're probably doing right now that are making things worse. So we're going to talk about those problematic things you're probably doing and what you can do instead to fix this. So my name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach. I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So wins from guys in my program. So guys are bringing fun and laughter back to their marriage. So again, these are wins from guys who actually took the step, not just to listen, but to come in and apply the principles and get coaching and build these strengths and skills. So if you're interested in doing that, come join Strong Men, Strong Marriages, and we can help you, right? We can help you build these strengths and skills, create real intimacy in your marriage, whether you're just, not the intimacy isn't there, but your marriage kind of looks okay on the outside, but the intimacy isn't there, or you're dealing with infidelity or facing separation or divorce. We work with those problems. So, and guys that just want to take it to the next level that are already in a pretty good spot. So again, guys are bringing that fun and laughter back to their marriage where it's been missing. Guys are starting to say no more often. A lot of times the guys I work with, they tend to overcommit to things. It's hard to say no. So they're doing that and feeling a little guilty at first, but then good because their schedule frees up. They're able to do more of what's important to them. Wives are starting to feel safer with their husbands instead of, feeling like they can't talk to them. So, and part of what we'll talk about today is about that. It creates a lack of safety for her. Guys are generating more friendship, more fun, more flirting in their marriage, having that good time, having more physical intimacy. So for me this week, I've been, praying to have more fruits of the Spirit in my life. From Galatians 5:22 and 23, we talk about love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So look, when I'm praying for those, I'm going to get probably opportunities to do that. We've had some things happen this week where I've had to have my patience tested, right? And tested means it's a chance for it to grow. And so I'm grateful for that in a way. I do feel like my patience is growing through it. So again, coming back to today's topic, right? So what you're seeing right now is you feel like your wife doesn't prioritize you. So maybe you see that she spends time with friends and family, but not you, right? She'll go out, she'll have fun with them, but she doesn't want to go on a date with you. Or she'll go to a family event, but she doesn't want to come to your work event, or something like that. She'll hug the kids, she'll spend time with them, but not with you. She says, "Oh, I'm not that affectionate," but then she'll be affectionate with the kids or with their friends, but not with you. Okay, that hurts when you see that. She's excited about seeing other people, but not you. She sees a friend, or a friend calls, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" But when you walk in, it's like, "Oh, whatever. I don't really care that you're here." Maybe she seems more interested in her phone than talking to you. So you're together, but she just plays on her phone. She's looking at Instagram, playing games, whatever. And you're like, man, you'd rather do that than spend time with me. Like, that's annoying. Why wouldn't you prioritize me? Right. So those are some examples. And look, I've seen these myself. I've interpreted them the ways we're going to talk about here. So, you can feel left out. You can feel frustrated. You can feel like, man, she'll do this for everybody else, but not for me. That's not fair. I'm doing so much for her. So some ways guys try to deal with it. One is trying to cover it up, right? Just being like, well, everything's fine, right? Let me just deal with it. Let me just keep trying to make her happy, happy wife, happy life. Eventually, we get frustrated, we explode, we get mad at her, or we escape into pornography or spend time with other people, or just kind of like distract ourselves because we're so feeling dismissed in our marriage. And then we feel bad and we try to do nice things for her again. That's the mosquito cycle, and that happens, right? And this is really part of the mosquito cycle that we don't feel. We're looking for her to make us feel good about ourselves, right? To some extent. Now, what we have to distinguish, and we'll get into this, is look, it is important for you to get things from your wife that you want, right? You're just as important as she is. So that is important. But now we're talking about what doesn't work. And we'll talk about what does work in a little bit. But anyway, so guys will sometimes try to cover it up. Oh, everything's fine. Your wife's like, hey, you seem a little off. Is something wrong? No, 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 everything's fine. Even though in your mind you're like, well, you hug the kids, but not me. Or you're on your phone all the time, but you're not talking to me, right? But you just don't tell her any of that and just act like everything's fine. Or guys will get passive aggressive, right? So she's on her phone, and then, you know, you get on your phone and she asks you a question, you ignore her, right? Because you're kind of just saying to her you're frustrated without saying that you're frustrated, right? You're trying to like pay her back indirectly. Or, she's not doing her job she agreed around the house, and now you're going to stop doing your jobs around the house to just like pay her back. So it's petty, right? It's passive aggressive. You're going to act grouchy all the time. She's like, what's wrong? Nothing, right? You don't tell her what's going on. Okay, I've done all these. I've seen guys do all these. Or you're just like easily irritable. She says something and you're just like immediately going to jump on it, say it's a bad idea, whatever. So, she comes in, she says, oh, hey, like I need to go to the store. You're like, oh, well, it's about time to go to the store, right? You get all like snappy, snippy with her. The other thing you might do is point out what she's doing wrong. You're on your phone, like, look, you're wasting your time. That's not good for your brain, right? So, yeah, basically you're irritated with her, so you feel hurt, so you're trying to hurt her back, either directly or indirectly. It's understandable, okay? Just not very mature and not very attractive. The other thing that guys will do is complain directly, right? Just say, hey, you're not prioritizing me, right? You hug other people, but you don't hug me. You are excited for the kids, but you're not excited for me, right? So I'll complain, right? Tell her what they don't like. Like that's a little bit of a step more in the right direction than these other ones of being passive aggressive or trying to cover it up and all that. At least it's honest about what's bothering you, right? Um, but here's why all these don't work. So when you're feeling frustrated, passive aggressive, or complaining, they're all, again, unattractive, right? Someone who's frustrated with you, you don't necessarily want to be around them that much. Someone that's passive aggressive, they're immature, right? You don't really want to be around them. You don't really spend time with them. You don't really feel safe opening up your thoughts and emotions to them, okay? Because they're kind of annoying and kind of immature, right? Um, Someone who complains all the time, people don't like to be around complainers, okay? So, and what it does is it creates these unattractive feeling states, anger, resentment inside of you. And what people pick up on is our feeling state. So if we're feeling angry and resentful, people pick that up. They don't really want to be around that. Okay. Makes her want to create distance from you. It also makes her feel unsafe. If you're a guy who's angry and resentful and irritable all the time, she feels unsafe mentally and emotionally. And so, yeah, she doesn't really want to be around that. She doesn't really want to spend time with that. The problem with complaining, which is like the best of these negative behaviors, is that you don't identify what you actually want. Okay, so like you don't prioritize me. What does that even mean? It's hard for her to know how to prioritize you if you just say, I just want to be important to you. How? Like, what does that look like to you? Right? She doesn't know. And so if you're just going to go complain about that, and even when you say, well, you hug other people, but you don't hug me, it might seem to you that she should figure out that you want her to hug her, or you want her to hug you, but it's not direct. It's not clear, right? You didn't actually ask for that. You're just complaining about what you don't like. Okay. So what do you do instead? So instead of whining, complaining, being passive aggressive, acting like everything's fine, first step, try to get into her shoes, see what's going on, right? So maybe she's just busy. She's got a lot going on. If you have kids, she's taking care of the kids. Maybe her friend's having some issues right now. Maybe it works hard for her if she's working. If she doesn't have a job, but she's at home with the kids, that is super hard. So just get into her shoes. Like she's got a lot she's dealing with. And so she doesn't really want to add caretaking a husband to it. And when I say caretaking, what I mean is like you aren't able to manage your own thoughts and emotions, so she has to do it for you. Um, that's not fun for her. That's a drain for her. That's not good. You're actually not being a great partner to her if you're just like adding one more thing to her to-do list to be to take care of you, right? We want to be the strong leaders of our homes, not another baby for her to take care of. Okay. So try to be there to support and help her versus another thing for her to take care of, right? Another kid. So when you're that's strong, that's attractive. So you're like, hey, you seem really overwhelmed lately. What's going on? Like, how can I help? Can I just listen? Are there things I can do? Wow. Now she's going to be feeling grateful to you. Now she's going to think, man, like, I'm so grateful I have this husband. That's when she's going to want to spend time with you. That's when she's going to want to give you a hug and a kiss and be glad you're home because instead of being a drain on her, you're somebody who helps her. Okay. So the other thing you can do, right, besides getting into her shoes and being a support instead of a drain, is ask for specific ways that she can show you that you're a priority. Okay. So look, again, it's important that you also get things you want from the marriage, not just her, right? So ask for something specific, right, with a reason why. So mentally, emotional, it might just be, hey, like, can we just spend a few minutes today just talking about our days? Why? Because I think that'll help us feel more connected and get to know each other better. Um, Maybe just being a happy about accomplishments. Hey, it'd be great if you could um, just smile and tell me good job when I come home and tell you about these accomplishments, just because that makes me feel like I'm important to you, right? Uh, could you just listen when I tell you my concerns, because it just makes me feel like you care and you're there for me? Will you go on date nights with me, because that makes me feel like time with me is important. It's something that you want to do. Can we just watch a show together, because I think it's important that we have fun together and build some good memories together. So those would be some good specific requests that she can show you that you're a priority, right? Because listen, if you're going to say, well, I want you to stop hugging the kids, like, that's pretty immature request. But it also, if that's really a request, it kind of shows where you're at emotionally, and that you definitely need some help, like maturing and growing and building strengths and skills, which we can help you do in the program. um, for physical, maybe it's holding hands, maybe it's hugs, maybe it's kisses, maybe it's sex. Now, the issue, guys will sometimes jump straight there, but for most women to feel like they want to connect physically with you, they need to feel like they can trust you. They need to feel safe with you. And they need to feel mentally and emotionally connected. So typically, you're going to want to ask for some of these other ways to connect, and then move to the more physical ways to connect. Okay, not always, but typically. Maybe it's financial support. Hey, look, like, I need you to be more aware of the money so that we don't go bankrupt, or I'd like you to get a job so that I feel like we're both working and doing that together. Okay, so again, like, you do need to be known in your marriage, but you need to do it in a strong, attractive way, not a negative, passive aggressive, babyish way. Okay, there's nothing wrong with asking for what you want. There's a problem when you don't ask directly, or when you don't ask at all, right? Or yeah, like, the other thing too is the reason we started with, hey, get into her shoes and try to be a support. Like, that's going to make it much more likely for her to want to connect with you, versus being another problem for her to take care of. Okay. All right. So in summary, if you feel like your wife is not prioritizing you, here's what you need to stop doing. Stop complaining, which means just whining without asking for anything specific. Don't act resentful, and don't act passive aggressive. So stop doing those things, because they're driving her away. What you need to start doing, get into her shoes. Be a helper instead of another problem for her to take care of. Okay, just doing that's going to be a major shift that'll make her want to spend time with you more. Okay, and then ask specifically for what you want with a reason why. Okay, so identify the couple things or the one thing that you'd really like for her to do, and just ask her to do it. You'd be surprised, a lot of times when you're specific, she is willing to do it. So now, to do this, though, it does require spiritual, mental, emotional, and sexual strength. Spiritual strength to, be able to be strong enough to ask for what you want, to believe you have the worth to do that, to get out of yourself and get into her shoes. To me, that's a spiritual strength. Mental and emotional strength to manage your thoughts and emotions, to ask for what you want, to get into her shoes. To sexual strength, to use your sexuality in a way that you think is positive. If you're going to ask for more sex in the marriage, like coming from that from a strong place, not a needy, weak place, or a place that's using her. It also takes communication and intimacy skills. And look, like, bringing some fun and some flirting. So if you want to spend time, it's actually fun and not just a drain on her, right? Communicating these things in clear ways, good ways. All right. So if you want to learn those strengths and skills, come join us in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. We're going to teach you how to do them in record time. Program's 90 days. There's continuation after if you need it. But our goal really is within those 90 days to accomplish what it would take you years and years in therapy to accomplish. Build up these internal strengths, build up these interpersonal skills to where you're really ahead of 99% of guys out there at the end of 90 days. So if you're ready to do that and get to work to do that, it does require about an hour a day of your effort and a significant financial investment to do it. Come join us. Let's do it, right? If this is the most important thing in your life, your marriage and your relationships, prove it with your time and your money, and let's get to work. So visit strongmen.io or click the link in the show notes. fill out an application. I'll review that and get back to you with your best next steps. All right, so stay strong, men, and we will see you next episode.